The following is a production of Cary TV, the Town of Cary's government access channel.
Good afternoon and welcome to the October Operations Committee meeting. Chairperson Robinson is running a few minutes late and she asked me to just begin the meeting on her behalf. We have 5 items on consent. These are routine things regarding easement requests, and those will move forward onto the town's agenda at the next council meeting. Today we have 3 items for discussion. The first item is a locally administered projects program, LAPP, for Campo. And Mr. Duck.
Thank you. Good evening, councilors. Tonight we have before you consideration of the LAP program projects for Campo this year. The Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, or Campo, has opened the call for projects for the FY15 Local Administered Projects Program. The program criteria allows the town to submit up to 4 projects in the roadway and the bike ped modes each. Transit projects are also in the program but are considered separately from this in a separate process. So the FY15 program funding is approximately $15 million this year, with $9.75 million going towards roadway projects, $3 million towards bike ped projects, and $2.25 million towards transit. As we do annually for every year for this program, the town staff from planning, engineering, and Parks and Rec and Cultural Resources departments meet to review the potential qualifying projects. Based on our staff discussions and our preliminary LAP scoring, staff has pre-submitted the projects shown in the tables in the staff report. The staff report office also provides more information about the project specifics and its funding. Should any of these projects be successful through the competitive evaluation process with Campo and get funding, the staff will bring them back to council for consideration with more funding information and also approval for the NCDOT agreements that go along with them. Staff will also provide council with the specifics funding recommendations for each of the projects and where it should come from from the budget. Based on that, staff seeks input on the projects that we've shown listed here, and also approval to submit up to 4 projects in each category based on our discussions with Campo, NCDOT, and our internal in-house analysis of scoring. With that, that concludes my summary, and we'll be happy to answer any questions concerning the projects or the process.
Okay.
I only had 2 questions, and I think I know the answer, but I try not to make any assumption. Do you really call the Buck Jones Road reduction a diet? Is that really, it's going from 5 lanes to 2 lanes, and that's Or that's not a typo, you call it a diet?
Yes, a road diet is what it's typically called when we narrow streets down based on capacity and other things and do
So-
streetscapes.
So when it goes from 5 lanes to a 2-lane median divided, are the bike lanes on both sides? I couldn't tell from the
Yes,
map.
they'd be on both sides.
With also sidewalks on both sides?
The sidewalks are already there for most of the project, except for a small piece on the south side
side.
beside the bridge.
Right.
And this is a project we've been working back and forth with the city of Raleigh, who is also doing some improvements on their side. I think they actually had a public meeting last night about it. And that project is part of their bond projects that are up for vote this coming week.
So will that entire road then include that same stretch? I mean, same road improvement as it switches over to Raleigh? Or will it go from 2-lane to 5-lane to?
What we're looking at right now is a couple different sections, and it's based on the traffic that's out there. Some pieces of it may just get bike lanes added to it. For example, from South Hills up to Walnut Street. There may be pieces that just get bike lanes added to it. But the section we're looking at for the 3-lane section would be basically from Nottingham Drive back towards Raleigh to connect up with where they're doing roadway improvements down near Farm Gate and back up to Jones Franklin.
Okay, that was my question, because there were 2 roads that are on a diet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Move to consent?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll move that to consent.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next is the amendments to the noise ordinance. Major Godwin.
Good
How
evening,
are you?
Council. How are y'all? So tonight we have a staff report before you that recommends some minor changes to our current noise ordinance. As you know, our current ordinance was written in 1982 and has been amended periodically since then. Well, we come before you tonight in an effort to make the current ordinance easier to understand and to sync up some of those various sections so that they collectively make the ordinance simpler and more effective for the citizens and the officers that are called upon to investigate possible violations. The recommended amendments, which staff believes will do this, are included with more specificity in the staff report. There's little in the way of substantive changes that are recommended here. But with that in mind, staff is asking for council direction on whether or not we should investigate more substantive changes to the ordinance. Some examples of items that could be further researched are whether some parts of town, such as the downtown area or mixed-use developments, should have a different threshold than the current residential area limits of 60 dBA, which currently is the same for all residential areas throughout town. Whether the current use of the dBA weighted scale is the best way to go, or whether we should consider dBB or dBC weighted scale for certain types of sounds, and whether golf courses, for instance, should be allowed to get an earlier start on other types of work, which the current ordinance restricts to only the putting greens. I know that's something that's come, to your attention before. So if council decides to pursue additional revisions such as these, then staff recommends that be done in a future staff report. And with all that said, that kind of concludes it. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you, the staff, Chief Bazemore, and Lieutenant Quinlan for responding to a citizen's issue with regards to leaf blowers and in a multifamily area. I know that citizens often will tell us they're not sure that they're always heard, but the citizen was very happy in your response and your personal attention, and I'd like to thank you for all of that effort that you made in reaching out to that citizen.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Those are great comments. I've been following that also, and that was really an unusual situation. I guess the question we have is you're asking for council direction, and there's part of me that's, unless we want to, I guess, move forward saying, it's 1982. I do think that you bring up a lot of good things. There's one in 82, we didn't have like a golf course in Lochmere. Yes. And you have these issues of living next to that and what time they can start and all of those issues. And I know we've had that come up repeatedly in the past. And we have a lot of other things where with mixed use, there might be some need to reflect back on some of those guidelines. So my thought, Lori, would be that we not have this on consent, but we try to get some feedback from the entire council so that if you are going to go forward with a staff report, you have a little bit more direction. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think you did great work. I remember reading it the first time when a citizen called me and said, I'm not sure I understand it, and I had to read it as well and said, oh, I'm not sure I understand it either.
Yeah.
So the cleanup that you all have done is quite good, and I can look at it and say, all right, you know, there's certain key points, you know, no construction work on Sunday was a little bit confusing, the 60
was.
dBA. To be honest, I know that some people are going to be surprised, but I don't know the difference between dBA, dBc, and I don't know how it feels to a citizen, and probably some of the other council members are the same way. So I agree. I think that there is value to the rest of council hearing this.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm reading this, it looks as if you're trying to already address some of that, but the point is, I think it's probably healthy for us on, at the next council meeting to give this update and get some feedback from all.
You know, we haven't seen Major Godwin at the council meeting in quite a while. So it's a
Give you
great
some-
opportunity, isn't it?
All right, we're going to move it we're going to move it forward on discussion, but the discussion is, you know, not because there's a conflict, there's an issue where I think we just need to get
Awareness.
more feedback and awareness to everyone. So,
Very good.
all right?
All right,
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Okay. Next, we have the annual Cary Transit Food Drive and Marketing Initiative. Mr. Boss.
Good evening, council members.
How are you?
Staff recommends that council approve the establishment of an annual Cary Transit Food Drive with food donations being contributed to Dorcas Ministry. That they provide food assistance to families in the Cary and Morrisville area. We also expect that the food drive may attract new riders that have not used C-Tran, and this first event would be held November 11th through the 15th. So staff recommends that council authorize staff to proceed with this food drive in November and on an annual basis thereafter to support those in need of food assistance and attract new riders. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
I don't think we're there.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you and staff for coming up.
Absolutely.
This is a fantastic idea. You and I exchanged some discussion items. I was mostly interested with, you know, why was Dorcas chosen? How much do we think we're going to create an opportunity? And also making sure that I don't want another food bank or someone else to come to us and say, oh, we wanted to be part of this food drive. We didn't know you were doing it. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to work with a not-for-profit who serves the entire Cary Morrisville area. And I appreciate your input in response to my questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move that on consent.
Perfect, great idea. Great, thanks to staff for always thinking about new things.
And that ends our Operations Committee meeting. Thank you.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.